We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Today we have Will with us. It seems appropriate. We got a lot of things happening today. Will's no doubt fired up about it, and it'd be interesting to get his insight. Welcome, Will. We've had some
Hey, Mike,
fucked
how you
up,
doing?
we had some good shit and some fucked up shit going on the last couple of days.
Yeah, we can start with the good shit before we get to the fucked up
Yeah.
shit. Because every day is fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Um,
We had the Booker, Cory Booker thing where he spoke for 25 hours. And, you know, I was on TikTok, and of course, most people were cheering him on, says it was a good
right,
thing. I run across Hawk, and of course, he has to talk shit about it. I think he does that just to cause some kind of dissension, just to cause that trauma or drama. I disagreed with him. I mean, the way I looked at what he was doing initially was we got a bunch of Democrats not willing to do anything, them saying they can't do much anyway. And I said, well, do something. And at least Cory Booker did something. But when it was all said and
right.
done, it seems like he did a lot.
Yeah. So what was Hawk's take? Because I didn't hear it. Because he's a San Francisco liberal.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why you've already described him.
Well, basically, he said, he has his negatives with the Democrats, and so do I. But we're trying to
Mhm.
win a fight here. He said, well, this isn't really a filibuster because there is no bill he's trying to shut down. This is all performative. I think he might even said this is scripted. Yeah, try to script a 25-hour speech, motherfucker. That's not that easy. Um, but basically saying it was a pointless thing for him to do.
Mhm.
And it's just performative and just to get attention for himself. And my answer to that is, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Well, as long as we got a Democrat doing something. And then when he got some heat, he goes, well, he does another video. He goes, well, I guess I have to give him credit, give him his props because he is creating
Yeah.
some inspiration and stuff. I don't
See, I
understand
did a
people who
video.
want to argue for the sake of arguing.
Yeah, I did a video about that too, because with Cory Booker. Because the one thing I love about Cory Booker, I thought it was a filibuster. Okay.
Well, it
And
was a
there was,
filibuster.
it was because they did have the ambassador to NATO coming up for a vote.
Yeah.
He could have just done the filibuster thing where they sign a thing saying I'm filibustering but never stand on it. He
Yeah.
decided to go old school.
Yeah.
I mean, he was Mr. Smith goes to Washington, ladies
Right.
and gentlemen. That's what he did for 25 damn hours. Um, and look, Hawk could go to hell because his takes are based in a reality that doesn't work. Now let's say it straight up. He's a white guy with money, dude.
Yeah.
You're not to worry about shit. I'm gonna look at that. You don't like that statement? You know where to find me. But the
Well,
person that I would respect that said that was cheering him on is Stella.
yeah.
Because Stella's old school New York. And
Yep.
she was just cheering him on and the whole thing because her point was your point and my point. He is doing something. It is something. Is it performative? We've been through 10 years of fucking performative.
Exactly.
We live in a fucking reality show now. I mean,
Being performative won the election on November 5th. So
exactly.
maybe we should take that page.
And the thing about it is, like, I compared it to WWE, where the other side starts to plot against the evil.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
time, people. And that's the problem. Like, the best part of it is when Chuck Schumer said he wanted a question, he says, I don't want to answer it. But Schumer had to make a point about the 25 hours. The
Yeah.
best thing about it is that the most noted, the person with the longest speech in the Senate is no longer Strom Thurmond. Thank
Right.
God. And he
And
was,
Strom Thor and Strom
but
Thurmond was trying to shut down civil rights.
yeah, he was trying to do the Voter Rights Act.
Yeah.
25 hours, the Voter Rights Act.
Yeah.
24 hours, whatever. He beat that, and he did it elegantly. It was the thing. He stood there between that. My only objection is I wish someone had tagged in and kept it going. But
Well,
hey,
yeah, there's that. I will give some of the Democrats credit, though. There was a number of them in the audience that would ask questions to give him a break. Because I got to tell you, talking for 24 hours, That seems impossible to me. I've done some extended talking. I've been in situations where I've talked for 3 hours straight, and that is exhausting and it's hard, and you put yourself in a trance. I can't imagine what that was like. But every time I watched, I didn't watch the whole thing, of course, because, well, I have a life, but I saw many segments. And each time I watched it, he was making an excellent point. He was very
Right.
compassionate. He was very coherent. And he did a hell of a job. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. He did a hell of a job.
And the thing about it too, he was reading also like correspondence from his
Right.
constituents, and which was another part of it because he was showing, hey, this isn't just me and a bunch of Democrats. This is what people are telling me. This is what I want to show you that they're out there suffering from. And I will say this: I will take Booker after 25 hours on the Senate floor talking's coherency over one moment of Trump anytime now. Because I
Yeah.
know Booker is more coherent than that Adderall elated brain that is now in the White House.
You
Because
know
that's
what
a
else he
fact.
did? What else Cory Booker did is exactly what we've all been asking for. At least you and I have been asking for this. We need somebody from the Democratic Party to step up and be a leader, lead the fight. There has been nobody. There's been a few people like Ossoff or Tim Walz, but we needed some situation like that. I'm not saying that he's going to be the presidential candidate, but we need some fighters and we need some leaders in the Democratic Party, and he stepped up. So I got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, I mean, and so because fighting over, the problem we have right now with this fight is that Congress is just don't care. They're letting
Right.
Trump do what he wants because the
Right.
Republican Congress is basically letting Trump run both the legislative and the executive branch and let him do what he wants. And the judicial is trying to stick their nose in, but I mean that takes forever, and
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
ignoring stuff. So I mean that's where we're at with that. But that's later down the discussion. The other good thing, first of all, fuck you, Florida. That's all I say. Um,
Well, yeah, what happened in Florida isn't unexpected. The both Republicans won. I know a lot of Democrats were hopeful that the Democrats would win and tighten things up, but these are very red strongholds. Donald Trump just 4 months ago won those districts by 30 points. These people should have won easily, and they only won by 14, 15 points. So that, in essence, was a win for the Democrats, and it's going to make the Republicans sit up and go, what the fuck's going on here? We got
yeah,
Pennsylvania going the opposite way. We got Florida, the reddest place in the world, and we're losing half our support there. That's making them nervous.
yeah, yeah. Florida. I always Florida. That whole situation everyone's talking about, maybe kind of sort of. And I was thinking of the end of Chinatown, and
Yeah.
basically paraphrase it. It's Florida, man. It's Florida, and
Yeah.
you
What
can't
can
do
he
anything
do?
about it. But Wisconsin fooled the shit out of me, honestly. The amount of money that they poured into Wisconsin, and I know both sides did, but mostly Elon Musk, giving out illegal money. That whole Green Bay rally was kind of, it was puking dust inducing. And I really didn't know. I didn't. And like my video was fool me because I don't trust you. After November 5th, you're not fooling me anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't buy it. The polls or anything. I don't buy shit from polls. But
I
uh,
personally think that that election would have been a lot closer if Elon just stayed out of it. Elon helped the
yeah,
Democrats win that election.
yeah. 55, I mean, it was 55% for her. That is not close. That
No, 10,
basically
10
is the
points.
repudiation. Yeah. And so she's there. And I mean, the only thing that kind of aggravated me was that, and I like Brian Tyler Cohen, but she, Susan, and I just real blank on her last name. Not Gossard. It'll come back to me.
Susan
They,
Crawford?
Crawford, yeah. So who won the election?
Right.
She got the case against the suit against Elon Musk dropped on her desk. She
Yeah.
was selected for the judge, and she recused herself.
Right.
And I'm going, okay, that's the right thing to do. Brian Tyler Cohen goes, why did she do that? Republicans want to do it. Yeah, I get it, bro. I get it. But you know what? She's a jurist, pushed into a political situation. She did what a jurist would do.
Somebody's got to
So
stand up for rule of law at some point
yeah,
because it's just going to
and I
go in the
thought
shitter if we continue
that
this
was
way.
that was petty. What was she going? I mean, she did the right thing, and which tells me when she's on the state supreme court, she'll do the right thing based on law, and that's
Yeah.
the way it should be. And don't criticize her for that. She did the right thing, and that's the
Now,
thing. That's what. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, people in media, whether we're talking about Hawk or Brian Taylor Cohen or something like that, or Tyler Cohen, that they want to create the controversy. They want to create the contradiction just because it's good for viewership or whatever. And I understand that they're running a business. Hawk is a little different. Hawk's not running a business per se,
Mhm.
but he's real emotional in his shit,
Yeah.
and it shows up a lot. But
I
you
got
know,
his point. I got his point. He wanted to say, but understand, there's that old cliche being old, like you are. You don't throw the
yeah,
baby out with the bathwater. Okay. And the point is, I admire her for that. She could have taken it and then thrown the gumboots, but you know what would have happened? It would have been the opposite effect for her. Everyone would have
yeah,
said, "Oh, see, look, political, political." You know, that's the thing. I know we're all bitter. I know we're all pissed off. Finally, because we're still recovering from that shell shock. But you still got to put shit in perspective at this
yeah.
point.
This had to be pretty devastating for Elon Musk because he's always posting something. He was pretty quiet after that. He was pretty quiet. He
Yeah.
didn't say much.
All right. And the thing about it is like, I mean, I saw that report from Politico that Aaron Parnas put out that Elon's gone, what, in 10 days or something, 19 days?
I don't
What's the
know.
goal?
There's a rumor going around that Donald Trump said that he was not long for the White House. Elon
Mhm.
said May. Um, I don't know if Elon's going or not, but Elon Elon has a problem with Donald Trump because now Donald Trump perceives him as a loser, which is ironic because Donald Trump himself is a loser, but he doesn't like to see people losing. The Wisconsin thing was a big thing for Trump, I'm sure. What's going on economically because of what Elon is doing is troubling him. People hating him. Uh, Donald Trump doesn't have close friends. He uses them for all he can and then he casts them aside. And pretty soon, Elon is going to be somebody who's expendable for Donald Trump. And it's going to be interesting because when he casts Elon aside and he's no longer connected with Donald Trump, he's going to be vulnerable because he broke a lot of fucking laws. Now
Right.
maybe Trump will protect him for the time being, but when he's not connected with Trump, uh, I have a feeling that Elon's going to start talking some shit about Trump. Trump will start talking some shit about Elon. And then maybe Trump will go after the motherfucker or just allow everybody else to go after him. It's
Yeah.
going to be kind of messy between those two.
Yeah. It's going to not end well because they're
No.
both narcissistic idiots. I
Yeah.
don't care what everyone says. Elon Musk is, I've heard him talk. He's mush mouth. He says
He
nothing.
is.
Um, and he says nothing of significance. He just piles on stupidity. And people say, well, he's rich. Yeah, it's nice to start with billions and buy everyone else's idea. I mean, shit. Um, that's what a lot of rich people do. Um, so but he has some idea that he can be king of the world. Now, one thing he's got to remember, and I think he's forgetting, that there's a bigger narcissist there who's
Yeah.
better at it,
It has a
and it's
little
going
more
to keep him
power.
out. Yeah, it has more power. And the thing about it is that the one good thing that Elon Musk has done is basically, if I'm a right winger in Europe, I don't want that motherfucker near me, especially in France. Because I want to bring up
Yeah.
one other little piece of news that's nice for at least for France. Marie Le Pen, who's basically a fucking Nazi. Let's just
Yeah.
be blunt. Her party's far right is a Nazi. Was convicted of embezzlement and going to jail. And
Yeah.
unlike America, the French said, "Oh yeah, you can never hold office again or run for office in your life." They took care of business
Seems to make
because
sense.
they looked at it. She was violating the fucking law. And Merrick Garland and unfortunately the Biden administration kept looking at Trump as a political problem, not a legal problem. And that's why
Right.
we got fucked. That's what we're
Yeah.
doing here. And when they write the history books on this, they will start with Merrick Garland. Sorry, truth. That's what's going to happen. Because
Yeah.
if you treated it as
I'll,
a legal problem, we wouldn't have this problem issue right
I'll
now
be the
sitting in
first
the
one to
White House.
jump on that bandwagon of tearing Merrick Garland apart because he is one of the main reasons we are in the current situation we are now.
Yep,
And let's be honest, at this moment in time, we are essentially fucked as a country
yep.
because we have no allies. We have people losing their jobs, unemployment going up. And then we have what Donald Trump called yesterday. We're hearing, you're listening to this on Thursday. This was Wednesday when it happened. Liberation Day. He was going to make the
Oh
big
yeah.
announcement for these tariffs, and everybody was waiting with bated breath. And I think everybody was thinking it was going to be bad, but it ended up being worse than that, right?
Yeah, it was worse. And also, nice timing, Donnie. Do it after the markets close, thinking you're going
Yeah.
to hide any kind of result. Trust me, the aftermarket trading is already collapsing. It's going to open on a huge negative. Good luck
Yeah.
with that, because that's another thing. That's another thing that proves he has no fucking idea how the
Well, right
economy runs.
right after he got done with his speech, and it was just fucking chaotic and wasn't accurate. It was lies and just stupidity. Um, the Dow futures dropped by 1,000 points. The S&P by 3 or 4%. I mean, that's all significant shit. That's a
That's huge.
serious fucking drop. And we don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow morning because he's not pulling back on it. And the thing about it is
You
he
won't.
came out with this crazy sweeping tariffs, 25% on all foreign cars coming in, Canada, Mexico, wherever, Japan. He started putting tariffs. And the way he decided, he pulled up a chart. He's got a tariff going on an island where nobody lives. It's just fucking ridiculous.
Fucking
And he's
Brazil. He's got 10% tariff on Brazil. I
and the thing
mean,
about it is, you know how he figured these tariffs out? This is how stupid he is. What really bothers him is the trade deficit. If they're taking less than we take from them, he sees that as a deficit and as a problem. And so he looks at the trade deficit. He looks at the trade deficit. They didn't even think about how to do this. Say that trade percent is 20 per, trade
oh, you're talking about
difference.
the reciprocal tariffs,
Yeah, the reciprocal
which is a
tariff.
term I have fucking never heard of.
No, but he's basically talking about the trade difference. So if
Yeah,
there's a 20% trade difference, he's tariffing them 10%. And it makes no fucking sense. He's put 20% on the EU. He's putting like 50% on Japan. None of it makes any sense. It seems like they just sat down, made this chart up in a half hour, not knowing what the fuck they're doing and
okay.
just acting like they're smart.
Let's all of us together. Let's review what a tariff is. Okay, a
Okay.
tariff is just a tax that the government is adding to products coming to the United States that is paid by the consumer.
Right.
So the thing about Trump and tariffs and all the MAGA dummies, they're saying they keep try to convince you that the tariffs are paid by the country to the American Treasury. That's why he's up there talking about before they had the income tax in 1913, everything was tariff, and all the money that the United States was that used in their federal government is through tariffs.
Yeah.
That is the most ignorant fucking statement ever. And you know what? They cheered it.
Oh
They
yeah, of
fucking
course.
cheered it. And I'm sitting there going, it doesn't. And I'm sitting there trying not to choke on my dinner, listening to this ignorant stuff, talking about how much better we all were in the 18th century. I'm sorry, this is the 21st century. Fuck, we're getting to the middle of the 21st century. And this is what you, and he wants, it's, and then he talks about, okay, I want to talk about, and I did this, a very long video on it. Go look for it. I call it the Second American Depression. Let me tell you
Yeah.
why. Okay, because this one just I heard that and I was about ready. It's lucky I only have one phone because that would have been bad. Um, the depression. One of the biggest factors of the depression was Hoover's being sold tariffs as a solution to economics. He
Right.
was sold that. Even in 1929, 28, 29, actually 27, economists were telling him, dude, that is a wrong, bad idea. Because he was on the same impression that Trump is that tariffs would go to the United States.
Yeah.
So Trump is talking about the reason that the depression happened because we didn't have the
Yeah.
tariffs. You
That's
dumb
stupid.
asshole. The reason that the depression happened is because Hoover put in tariffs, which caused us to not be able to produce, and everything went to shit. It collapsed because the economic thing here was so tedious. And when he put it in the tariffs and then the financing, it all fell apart like a house of cards. No jobs, no work. It all became whoosh.
I'm
And for you
convinced.
to think, convince everyone that tariffs will benefit you is insane. But
I'm
these people
convinced.
buy it.
I'm convinced Donald Trump is a simple-minded man, and he's not able to think any deeper. He's learned the word tariffs. He bought into it, and because he says it, now it must be straight from God. He's just doubling and tripling down because people keep telling him tariffs aren't going to work. So now he's going to prove his point. But when he proves his point, it's going to cost this country literally trillions of dollars. Somebody even
Yep.
said in over 10 years with these tariffs, that could amount to a $6 trillion tax increase, which
And
means we
then
pay that.
let's be clear. This whole bullshit that it's going to bring back manufacturing. Okay, it's not. It's not. And if they had a union bro there, that union bro needs to have his fucking card pulled. I want to
I
know
hope
who the
that
union bro is.
I hope that fucker loses his job. Yeah, I saw that. And he goes, he's going to bring back. You're stupid. Even if it does bring back manufacturing, it's going to take 4 or 5 years minimum to
Yeah,
get any of it up and running. So I think Lindsey Graham said, yeah, it might bring back manufacturing, but it's going to kill us first, which is
yeah,
exactly right.
and let's put a perspective because Trump's through that whole speech was nothing but bullshit and lies. Okay,
Yeah.
it was bullshit, lie, resetting history to fit his narrative, and it was all unbelievable word stupid salad. Okay, I can't even. So the words he were using was I can't. It's just it infuriates you because you have common sense, dude. Let's be clear. And I had when I at my last live, we talked about it a little bit. We talked about people. If you had 25% tariff on foreign cars, you know what? If you're buying a Mercedes or a BMW, you're still going to buy a Mercedes and BMW. You are not going to run over and buy a Ford. Sorry, it doesn't work like that. People will still buy Nissans and pay a little more. They still will buy better vehicles. They'll still buy a Honda. I am sorry. The American the American auto manufacturers make good vehicles, but they don't. Let me put it this way: they make good trucks. We make better trucks than any foreign truck. We do not make superior cars. Sorry, I'll take a Honda Accord over a Ford Fusion any time of day or night. And if you're financing the Honda Accord, you can live with that 25% spread over 60 months.
Yeah.
Listen to my words, people. Okay? You're not forcing them out. People will go there and they will figure it out. And if you go to a dealer and the dealer tries to fuck you over the tariffs, you will negotiate that down.
Yeah.
That's the way the world fucking works in the car industry because people will pay more for quality.
Right.
Okay? American auto manufacturers know this and they know he just fucked us all.
Yeah,
I'm
he did.
sorry. And it's not going to add to there's not going to be a big run on on American cars. It's not going to happen. Keep trying to sell yourself that. And it, it's just sad to watch him because you're talking about child. He was talking about the EU and milk, about a 300% tariff on American milk, and then he started talking about they take the first little carton of milk. I'm going, who fucking talks like this?
Yeah, that's pretty
Oh,
stupid.
who talk? I mean, I heard that. I'm going, what? There are 4-year-olds that have more verbal capacity than Donald Trump,
It's
and I
terrifying
just,
how dumb. It's terrifying how dumb he is. And so people understand if you're buying a $40,000 car, I
mhm,
would never spend $40,000 on a car. But if you're buying a $40,000 car, 25% tariff means a minimum of 10 grand added on to that. 10
okay,
grand. So now
right.
your 40,000 vehicle is 50,000. And yes, you can spread it out over 60 months. That's still more money. And people are going to get pissed because they're paying more money for no good fucking reason. There's
No,
nothing to gain by paying this tariff.
so let's go to the bottom line. What does it mean? He ignored. He thinks he's going to rebuild the economy. That's the one thing I hate. He's going to do all this things so we can rebuild the economy. Why do we need to rebuild the economy? Because in before January 20th, economy was fine.
Yeah.
We had a positive GDP. We had low unemployment. People were working. Inflation was coming under control. And he showed up and just basically just took a blowtorch to the entire thing.
Right.
Okay. I had some asshole in a live tell me that the reason he voted for Trump is Trump was going to rebuild the financial system. And we said, and people go, for what? To what? He's just going to rebuild it. There's no answers for you guys. You have no fucking
No.
answers. They think Trump is some brilliant. Again, his concept of business, and if you heard it through the tariffs, was win lose. Always win, never lose. There's no middle ground. There's no win win. Business is done on win win. Anyone who runs a business win lose loses in the end because no
Right.
one wants to
Yeah,
do business
absolutely.
with you. We're going to go find someone else we can do a business with that's going to work with us. I'm not going to work with you. I mean, just because Walmart had that problem for a while because they went win lose because they were so big. So people turned
Right.
to Target or they turned to Costco. This is what happens in American business. So for you to turn around and tell the world, it's all about the whole while the world is fucking us. The
Yeah.
world is out to get us, and we've been put down, and we're going to be liberated. And I don't get it because America has always been ahead of the world, and we built alliances to be part of the world. We were never put down, and people buy this insane bullshit.
What,
And I
what's
don't.
amazing what's amazing to me is the amount of ignorance and unseriousness of people in this country. This is
Mhm.
how Donald Trump campaigned, and the crazy thing is, it fucking worked. And this is disappointing with the electorate in this country. I hate the government. I'm going to fight the government for you. Yeah, we're on board with that. I'm going to bring down prices. Yeah, we're on board with that. We're going to make America great again. We're on board with that. Never once did he say how he's going to do it. Never once
No,
did he prove how he was going to do it. They just believed him blindly, which is ironic because he's an acknowledged pathological liar. This is how
and the
stupid
worst.
people are.
And then if you go back to the campaign, no one was asking for details from Trump. They were asking for details from Kamala Harris. What's your plan?
Right.
Here's my
Yeah.
plan. Oh, that's not good enough. Fuck you all. Fuck you, media. By the way, if I hadn't said that today, fuck you. Fuck you all. Because I tell you one thing, the mass media is getting worse. They're not covering the due process. They're not covering the protest. They are just, uh,
They
and
are
that whole
starting to
thing.
turn a little bit though, because with this tariff thing, I was watching bits and pieces, and they're standing back like, I can't believe this happened. Well, all the
What do
shit
you
you
mean?
did up to this point put us in a position to do it. He told you he was going to do it.
And here's the thing with the mass media, just real quick. Trump is reassigning people in the White House press corps. Okay. So instead of like seeing, it's always been through seniority and
Yeah,
who you're with. No, no. Now they're moving it to who he likes. And
right.
now they're mad. Now they're saying this is a going after journalism. Dude, he's been going after journalism for 10 fucking years. And all of a sudden, because your feelings are hurt because you don't get the front seat, you're going to cry about it? Really? That's where you're going to draw the line. Not the lies, not all this, that. My
Don't you get
God.
the don't you get the feeling like after yesterday with what's going on with Elon Musk and Wisconsin and Florida, Cory Booker and all this stuff, people are really starting to get buyer's remorse. The Republicans, the Democrats, of course, never liked him. Don't you think this event with this tariff, this crazy tariff thing that's going to crash the economy, crash the stock market, it's already begun. Don't you think this could be the final straw where he brings himself to his final demise, where the Republicans just cannot take it anymore?
I don't know because Republicans are cowardly pigs and they will follow him to the death. I
Yeah,
really think the Republican Party are lemmings and they will go off the cliff and take all the MAGA with them. Problem is, it's a steep cliff and I don't want to fall down with them
right,
because they're dragging
exactly.
all of us with them. That's the thing. Republicans are basically blank. They're blank
Yeah.
because they're so deep in this. They don't care. Oof, they don't
Yeah.
care.
I,
I
I'm
mean, they
kind of
had.
glad this. I'm kind of glad this tariff is happening now, though. Uh,
Mhm.
and people say, "Well, how can you say that? People will get hurt." Well, we're here. It was going to happen anyway. Let's rip the band-aid off now. And the faster we can get people to realize how dumb they are, the faster we can get back to trying to recover.
I'm going to make a prediction though on this. Okay,
Okay.
Trump had the whole thing, this blah, 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 and he did it before after the markets closed. Okay,
Right.
and the market's going to open on a Thursday. It's going to be really bad and go into a Friday. I give these tariffs 48 hours.
You think he's going to
I
pull them
give these
back?
tariffs 48 hours until he says, you know what, time out. I'm going to give them a chance to make a deal with me because if it collapses and you start seeing things starting to roll up, because the jobs reports are coming and the GDP report is coming, I give it 48 hours.
Well, in the GDP
Honestly.
report, it's been up 2 and 3% when Biden was in office. Now they're talking. They first were talking 2.8 negative on this next one. Atlanta Fed was suggesting that
Mhm.
they revised that now to 3.7 negative. That's fucking
Yeah.
devastating.
Well, let's go further. The first Fed prediction in early March, because that's the end of the quarter we just
Right.
came to on the 31st, was negative 1.6. It was 2.7 a week ago.
Yeah.
Now was 3.7 or 3.8? One or the other.
Something like that.
It,
Yeah.
yeah, just before the end of the quarter. So they know how bad this is because those again, for those who are listening don't know, gross domestic product is the total sum of goods and services that the United States produces. Okay,
Right.
a positive one means your economy going well. A negative one means you're in a lot of trouble. That means you're not producing anything, you're not selling anything. You're basically that's where jobs stop.
There's no
Okay,
growth.
no growth, and so that's a bad thing that he did in less than one quarter.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It boggles the mind to think about. we went from positive 4 years of positive growth. Because even when Biden came in, he did bump the GDP up because Trump left with a negative GDP.
Right.
Remember? Negative
Right.
jobs report. Did not create jobs, lost jobs. So
Right.
Biden had a low bar to go up. It didn't take much. So the GDP kept growing, growing, and it got consistent 2, 3. And at the last one, the quarter before he left office, I believe it was 3.8% up. In 90 days, we went from that to negative 3.8.
Right.
That tells you exactly what he has done to the economy, but he wants to rebuild the economy that did not need rebuilding. And it just makes no sense because for all those tariffs we heard today, did we hear an after game plan?
No.
Did we hear what's going to happen once these people give us the positive trade deficit, which has nothing to do between countries? That's just
No.
a general spent by individuals in each country. Yeah, again, hey dummies, the trade deficit has nothing to do with governments. It has everything to do with who buys what where in the country.
Right.
But I digress. What's the game plan afterwards? I'm going to rebuild the economy, and like you said before, Mike, I'm going to lower prices. How? Lower prices. I'm going to rebuild the economy. To what? I'm going to rebuild the economy.
There is no plan. It's just he
There,
says it's going to be great, and dumb fucks believe him.
and there's it's frustrating for all of us because I was in a live and someone brought up what was it? Something about housing and that
Yeah.
Trump had this, that, and everyone sat there and went, that won't work because bang, bang, bang. And I said to the group, hey, you notice that in less than 5 minutes, we figured out this was dumb while the rest of the mag is running around going, how great this is. It took us less than 5 minutes. And there's not one economist in that room to know that was fucked up.
That's
And that's the
exactly it.
thing.
It's very
Yeah.
simple to figure out. It's common sense. It's just simple mathematics. And this is where the MAGAs fall off. They don't look, they don't think, they don't critically think. They just listen to what they're told and they believe it blindly. And this is where they end up. And what's happening now to Donald Trump seems to me with these tariffs, if he continues with these tariffs, is exactly what happens to a malignant narcissist. They insist they're geniuses. People say, no, don't do that. They double down, they triple down until they fall off the ledge and crash and burn and grind everything to a halt. This should not be a surprise to people. He's he's uh, he's run every business he's ever had into the ground.
Yeah.
It's just impressive that he's been able to run America into the ground in like 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah. And the thing about it is that the reason that he's been successful, he was successful in real estate. Real estate is speculation, and you
Yeah,
can con your way through real estate.
yeah,
Every time he got involved in a business that literally has a ledger, profits and losses, he failed. Why? Because you can't con your way out of the math, dummy. He
yeah.
conned his way out of the freaking real estate for decades. Still is. And so now this is where we're at. And the thing about it, there was one thing I'm bringing up about the fall of Elon Musk. He is trying to get away from Tesla wants to have a stockholders call. They
Right.
are calling him out. Tesla stockholders want a call with Elon Musk to explain what the fuck is going on. All right, and he's avoiding that like the fucking plague. Why? Because he is missing $1.4 billion in expenditures, and they want to know why is our stock tanking? Why do people want to burn our cars to the ground? Why people are trading in our cars? What are you doing? And he will not take that call. It's coming for him. He knows it. There's a desperation to Elon Musk I can smell off it.
Oh,
You
he's
can see
definitely
it in his
desperate,
eyes.
and he's obviously very emotional. He's got some emotional issues. The problem with Tesla, though, you want to do something with Elon Musk. You want to maybe kick him out, make him come back to work. I don't know what you want him to do. Too fucking late.
Yeah,
Tesla's done. Tesla's done. I don't care what anybody says. They're not coming back.
no, I mean they're basically what they'll have to do. See, the one thing that he has been not doing, what he's been avoiding. See, no, no, you cannot buy Fords directly from Ford or from
Right.
or GM or from whatever or Chrysler. They go to an independent dealer who buys the car from the manufacturer and then sells it to you. That's why they have finance floor plans. Follow me, guys. Okay,
Yeah.
if you ever seen how this works, there's floor plan financing that they buy certain vehicles. When I worked at a car dealership, if someone wanted a certain vehicle, we would order it for them from the factory, and they would pay us for it.
Right.
Okay, we would pay Ford. I worked for Ford, a Ford dealership, and so the owner had a certain amount of credit with his bank for his floor plan to keep up his inventory.
Right.
So they buy the vehicle at this MSRP and they sell the vehicle, but there's incentives and they figure it out. And they always make money because most of the time, if you sell a used car, you'll make $100 a car,
Right.
a new car. I mean, used cars is where they make their money because then
Right.
you can dictate everything. But Tesla only sells through Tesla. You go to a Tesla dealer that's connected to Tesla. It's not, you know, Bob and Mike's Tesla. You know what I'm saying? That Tesla
Right.
dealership that you can get used cars and everything. Because if there was Bob and Mike Tesla dealership, not only you have Teslas, you'd have used trucks in the back. Because
Right.
that's where they're making their money. Tesla brings you in, they make their money from the used cars and the service.
Right.
So the point being is that he doesn't want that. Why? Because like a narcissist, he wants total control. What will people do with my cars? Well, they'll sell them and you can make more money that way if you leave it alone.
Yeah.
Because as a product overall, except for the Cybertruck, which is a piece of shit,
It
Tesla
is.
is a decent vehicle and a decent electric car. The problem is with him fucking around with it, the reputation is gone. So the only way they come back is to create independent dealers and sell to them that way. Because then people could have Tesla here and say, okay, yeah, but if you trade in your car, you get a Tesla, and then we can sell the used cars as part of it. That's how a dealership runs,
I'm
and that's
curious
what
how
happens
it's
when you
all
have
gonna
yeah, go ahead.
I'm
I'm sorry.
curious how it's gonna shake out with Tesla though. There's a lot of Teslas around. There's a lot of people
Yeah,
with Teslas. It has nothing to do whether they're a good car or a bad car. Some people say they're
mhm.
good cars. The Cybertruck is a douche machine. But
It's a
but
yeah.
what happens to them? Tesla's going to crash and burn, but there's still going to be a lot of Teslas around. The problem isn't that they have a problem with the car. They have a problem with the branding, and the branding is
Yeah.
Elon Musk. And it's like buying a car that's been endorsed by Hitler or something. You're never going to be able to scrub that off.
Well, I mean, Volkswagen still exists, so
Well,
let's
that's
be
true.
honest. I mean, that's just, I mean, you still buy Bayer aspirin and IG Farben created the chemicals for concentration camps. They still
Oh, that's a good
exist.
point.
Yeah,
That's
I
a good
mean,
point.
so they'll come if you have a. That's one thing I saw an article. There's a book about IBM and the Holocaust
Yeah.
that IBM at the time um, had was the ones doing the punch cards, and punch cards, for all you don't know, is where they put data in to begin with,
Right.
and that's how you could track people. And IBM was making a shitload of money with FDR administration because in order to do the New Deal, you still had to bring people in. You had to set up the Social Security system, and that data was done on punch cards. And they
Right.
made a lot of money because they had the punch cards and the machine. Germany needed it too for other reasons, and they sold it to them, but they sold it to them without IBM names on it and made it a German product.
Right.
So that's so what we're saying here is that companies will do what they have to do to make money, even in the most horrendous ways, even IBM. And that's a secret that I read about recently about IBM. So
Yeah,
that's
it's
think about. Um, we're I mean, right now for the economy, this is it. There's supposed to be some kind of protest April 5th.
a big
Um,
protest all over the country. One of the biggest protests ever on April 5th. And that's, that's what I was going to get at too. We had a good day yesterday with the Democrats, winning in Wisconsin, coming close in Florida, Cory Booker. And I want Democrats to understand something. Just because we had a good day doesn't mean we win. This whole
yeah,
thing is
I know.
about momentum. We got to keep the momentum. And so we had a good day the day before. Donald Trump helped us with the momentum yesterday by announcing these
Mhm.
tariffs because it's going to go to shit and it's going to make people think worse about the Republicans. And those protests on April 5th, I think they're going to be pretty sizable and people are going to have to take notice, including the media.
Yeah. Now there's a certain backlash to these protests, and the reason I found this about is that if you get into uh, Black TikTok, they don't want to show up for these protests,
Yeah,
and the reasoning being is that a lot of people who are of color think that these protests are just to relieve guilt from white folk. Now, this is
right,
what I've been getting. This is what I've been hearing. The reason being is that they know it's fucked up. They know that the due process of people being shipped out to El Salvador is there. They know the danger, right? But a lot of people of color don't want to support this because they're afraid you're going to hang us out to dry like you did the last time. Because once you do your protest, instead of keep following up, like you said, yeah, we did it. Now go back to your regular lives and then leave everything as it is. And I kind of see their point to
well,
an
I do
extent.
too.
We've been through it before.
But
And
you know,
go ahead.
I get their point, but it doesn't work. That we saw that with the election. I'm not going to help you because you fucked us. At some point when you're dealing with problems, you've got to take it a step at a time. Sometimes you have to do something you're not fully on board with just to get the bigger dumpster fire out. And then when you get that dumpster fire out, then you focus on the problem in front of you.
Yeah,
It's not as big a problem as a dumpster fire, but you still have a problem. And you got to be more methodical and more logical about it. And at
right,
the same time, white people need to be fucking smarter in the long run and not be
right.
assholes. And unfortunately, that's hard for some white people.
Yeah. And part of it is too, and what and got into because I get into these discussions. It's interesting to go there as a Latino, because it's good to hear this take because we don't hear it a lot. Because people hear that take and they go, well, they don't care. No, they
Right.
care. They just don't want to get hung out and get hung out to dry because they've been that way. And I get it.
Right.
Totally makes sense. But one person made a good comment. It's like we don't want to get involved because if we help shift it, they don't feel the pain. So when
Right.
everything's okay, they'll go back to what they used to do. As one person said in a in a live I was in, they need to know what we went through. They need to get to that rock bottom. So when you do protest and you bring it back up, you never forget that.
Right.
You never can want to go back to it. And I thought that was a valid point because a lot of people right now, what you're starting to see is those people who didn't think they would be affected are getting affected.
Absolutely.
You didn't think it was going to come to you, now it's at your doorstep. And a lot of you voted for it. And you didn't think you were going to get it. You thought the other person was going to get it. No, you're one of them. Everyone is because Trump really doesn't give a fuck about you. He really
Well, that's,
does.
I think a lot of Republicans or MAGA people thought Trump's our guy. He's on our side. He's fighting for us. And what you don't know about narcissists, they aren't good on teams. They don't have any close friends because they will shit on virtually anybody. He did it in his first term with all his cabinet members. He will do it with Elon Musk. He'll do it with his current cabinet members. It's all about it's not my fault, it's his fault. And I personally think Elon may end up being a scapegoat for a lot of shit. It'll
Yes.
it'll be interesting to see who he's going to try to scapegoat with this tariffs things because it's going to go bad.
Oh, it'll be either Howard Lutkin,
Yeah.
um, or Marco Rubio, because Trump kept talking to Marco like, "Hey, isn't that great, Marco?" God, I hate when he does that. That makes
Yeah.
me nervous. That really it's literally the kiss of death, honestly.
And
Um,
Marco's such a cuck,
oh,
he'll say yes to anything.
and the thing about it is, there's two things. One thing I will say, and things are shit. It's bad. And Don Lemon made a comment. Goes, "We're the fascist government." Yeah, I'm going to say yes because of the lack of due process for many people. But let's all be
Yeah.
honest. This is the most incompetent bunch of fascists I've ever ran into in my life. It's
Oh,
literally
it's
like it's literally like an old serial from the 40s showing the Nazis as bumbling fools. But for real, I
it's like
mean,
Hogan. It's like Hogan's Heroes
bingo. That
the
was the
the
next statement. Exactly.
or the
Correct.
gang that can't shoot straight.
Yeah.
It's just silly. I mean,
Be,
since we're talking about the gang that can't shoot straight, we need to talk about the other thing that was a big story. It seems to me that those people, the high end people that are in charge of the security of this country, that are in charge of intelligence, just so happen to be dumb motherfuckers. We had this thing with Signalgate, right? We have
yeah.
this chat on an unsecured commercial app about war plans with everybody on it. JD Vance, John Radcliffe, all these motherfuckers were on there. And somebody goes to Pam Bondi, the AG, and says, "Are you going to investigate this?" And she says, "No." And they say, "Why?" And she says, "Well, it doesn't seem like it was intentional." But then what comes out yesterday is that from the Washington Post, there are people coming forward suggesting this has happened maybe 20, 25 times. So now it's fucking intentional. Now what the fuck are you going to do, Pam Bondi?
Nothing.
No, absolutely.
The goddamn thing. Yeah, you're talking about that Mike Waltz was still using Signal within and Gmail within the non-secure email within
Well, let- well,
the Defense
well let's
Department and the
let's
Security
look at all
Department.
the let's look at all the security issues. They use
Mhm.
Signal for the bombing in Yemen of the Houthis. That's fucked up. We find out that he's using it multiple times more, maybe 20, 25 times more. That's a big problem. Then you
Right.
find out that Mike Waltz is also sending classified information via Gmail. And if
Yep.
that weren't enough, we find out that Pete Hegseth is bringing his wife to classified meetings. And then we also find out that he's putting his little brother on the plane to Guantanamo and other classified situations. I mean, this is you want to bitch about Hillary? Fuck.
Oh,
This is
but
silly. It's like
you
we
saw
have
when
no security anymore.
what you saw when they called him out there. What did they go to? They went to Hillary's emails. They went to Joe Biden's classified documents that he never. I mean, they deflected it all the way.
And it's so weak
Sadly,
because Trump
it's
had more documents by 1,000 times than Biden had. And
it's weak.
he's a civilian now. Who cares?
It's weak to our standards. Again, we're normal, but to MAGA, I mean, how many comments you get about that in your TikToks or your videos? It's all that same fucking Fox News talking points. These people don't care. They
Yeah.
don't. The American security, America is nothing to them. They just all and sadly I'll have to admit Rebecca is correct. The only thing that works for a lot of these MAGAs, and maybe 90% of them, is owning the libtards.
Yeah,
Oh
that's true.
yeah, look, they're upset. Oh my God, we win. Like the whole I'm running for a third term. What a bunch of stupid people that ran with that. You dumb
Well,
fucks. That
it's
was
such a
gaslighting.
it's such a silly argument. I mean, if you've ever had kids and maybe experienced something similar to this, say a kid, say you have two sons like I do. My youngest son breaks a window, and I'm yelling at him for breaking a window, and he says, "Yeah, but my big brother broke a window last week." Oh, okay. So you breaking the window this week, it's okay because it's already been done by somebody else. That's not a fucking argument. What's wrong is wrong. What's right is right. And whether somebody else did it before you shouldn't matter. You're the president. You're the organization running this
Right,
shit. We don't care what those people who are now civilians or have already gone through their accusations. You still fucked up. There is no
right.
good excuse to explain away what you did.
And the sad thing about it, those are people who would prosecute such things and investigate are in on it. So we
Yeah.
can't. The FBI is going to do anything. DOJ is not going to do anything. Normal intelligence. You notice that there's no inspector generals anymore. So that's why you
Yeah.
have all this crazy shit. So they're not going to do it. They are running rampant, and it's already costing us. I know if you don't think the Chinese have a lot of our information, you're out of your fucking mind. We know the Russians do for a fact. I mean, when you do single chat and send out war plans, and the special envoy to Putin is in Moscow, a part of the chat, and
Yeah.
I don't care if Tulsi Gabbard was in Asia. They monitor social media. Sorry, they're better spies than us at this
Yeah.
point, and that's the way it
Well,
works. But sorry,
I feel like the only way people are going to react to this, Republicans are going to react to this, and it's sad to say, is if some tragic terroristic attack or some failure with security causes some huge disaster.
I
And it's
the
imminent
biggest
if we keep doing this shit.
yeah, but the thing that scares me about that, because I saw there was some rampant rumor. Some asshole on TikTok was saying that the FBI is saying that there's going to be mass terrorist attacks in big cities, and he named all the blue cities. Okay, and the first thing I said, Cash Patel's FBI. Are you out of your mind? And then also, it's all bullshit because it's
Yeah.
the usual suspects: Hamas, ISIS. So that tells me that if unfortunately, if something like that really happens, okay, there will be no concentration on what happened, how we get to that security failure, like what happened in 9/11. How can we prevent it? It's going to be, we're going to round up every brown person in this country now. We're going to do it because you see what happens when we don't do it.
Yeah.
That's that. I mean, that for all the things you're saying, and I totally get it. We're vulnerable. But if it does happen, then the people going to pay the price are everyone they decide they're going to go after because they'll have an excuse. They literally could,
Yeah.
honestly, they could set off, it, God forbid, and I shouldn't bring this into existence, and please, people don't get pissed. They could set off a dirty bomb in the middle of Chicago, and no one will care about Chicago, A, because there's no FEMA. No one's going to help with the federal government. But they sure as fuck are going to go after every brown person in the rest of the country to make a
Yeah.
point. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the level of competence we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with right now. That's a sad thought in my head that the current government would use the death of many Americans to exercise their xenophobia and their racism, and to really put the fist down on everyone, because everyone would say yes, go get them. I mean, we did that after 9/11. We ended up with the bullshit we got now. We ended
Well,
up
that
in
makes a
Iraq.
good point. That makes a good point in that they're not very good at it. They're not very slick at it, but they are opportunists, and they will take
Right.
any situation and use it to blame something that pushes their agenda. Oh, it's the
Exactly.
black people doing it. It's the brown people
Yeah.
doing it. It's the Jews doing it. Um,
Exactly.
if we get some kind of disaster like that, though, I mean, we know what 9/11 did. It brought people together. And if that happens, that may be a similar problem for the Republicans and Donald Trump as if they fuck with Social Security or something like that. People are going to
uh,
come together. They're going to be outraged, and it's going to be a problem for the Republicans.
yeah, and again, they're opportunists. They're not that smart. And one thing I was going to bring up, because we can go into panic mode every day because it's easy. I mean, there's
Yeah.
shit every day. But the one thing you have to remember, um, this is the most incompetent set of people ever tried to set up a fascist government ever,
Yeah.
because they violated the one thing you don't do. So let's go back how the rise of Germany. Germany rose, or the Nazi Party or fascism rose in Germany. Same thing with Italy and Mussolini, because of the Great Depressions of the 20s and 30s
Yeah.
and the economy. And so, what did Hitler do? He knew better enough. And God, I'm glad we can talk about it without people freaking out like on TikTok, the
Yeah.
algorithm freaking out. What he did was he built a solid, he built an economy. He promised jobs, and he did present jobs, and he did raise the economy up. He got the trains to run on time,
Right.
and also he also is also started building up the war machine, which means jobs. So he built the economy, but also he turned around with the culture war and blamed the Jews for everything, the gays, the gypsies, for all the things that happened to you before. So everyone was comfortable because I had a full belly, I could eat, my things are better. Who gives a fuck if those people, my neighbors are getting pulled away? I didn't like them anyway. See, that's the smart thing. Your political opponents vanish, right? You solidify power. You get rid. If you look at that, that's the smart. There was a brilliant way of doing it. Okay, there was no idiots in there. Same thing with Mussolini because it's all about economics.
Right.
What is Trump doing? He's
He's doing
breaking
the
the
opposite.
economy. Yes. So if
He's
people
not
are
even a
not,
good fascist. He has
yeah,
no clue
if
how to be a fascist.
if people are worried about their money, they're not going to buy into your culture wars.
No.
They're not. They're not doing it now. They're not buying your culture wars because you're not doing it smart. You're doing it very badly. I mean, I'm not encouraging people, I mean, to be fascist, but we've seen them. I mean, come on, Pinochet, the Argentinian government, we knew what they were, and they did it in dark and silence without putting it out on social media or like that. I'm sorry, if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. And they're incompetent. And the reason I'm saying is that we're talking about the opportunists. Yeah, but they probably would fuck that up too.
Yeah.
We know this because they're not so. I mean, who advertises that? You want numbers. They want to show that they're doing something, but that's not how you build a fascist government.
No.
You don't. You do
I
everything in
mean,
the background, and you give and you present your strength on helping those of us that matter.
I,
I
you know,
mean, even the Russians do that.
maybe there's a little hope in that because you're absolutely right. When Adolf Hitler comes in or somebody else comes in, they have to give a reason for people to follow them and believe in them. And not just
Hmm.
the base, but everybody. So, like the trains run on time or there's food in people's bellies. That's good. But like you're saying with Donald Trump, he's such an incompetent fucking fool. He comes in and he's trying to push all this stuff while tearing people apart. I mean, it's the
Right.
exact opposite of what he needs to do. And it's just part and parcel to who Donald Trump is. He's a failure. He fails at everything he does.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a good thing with regards to fascism.
Yeah. Because the thing about it, honestly, let's since we're two smart men here, if we had the same kind of inklings, the first thing that I would do is to leave that economy alone and let it build.
Yeah,
And then I would do my other agenda
that
behind the
would have been a
scenes.
smart thing.
Smart thing and let everyone do. By tearing apart the federal government, by making people scared, it's not going to give you what you want. Fascism doesn't work in fear because it only works for fear of the people of your scapegoating. It works when people feel comfortable within the government because you're doing something for them. And you're
The
not.
reason the reason this happens though, I see it in businesses too from time to time, is a
Mhm.
really deep set insecurity. Anything that anybody did before them that's good, they feel threatened by that. So
Hmm.
they have to go and they have to rebrand it to something stupid. I'll give you an example. When I was a traffic reporter with the DOT, we had
Hmm.
something called highway helper. There were these trucks that went around, and if somebody had a flat tire or was stuck in a lane, they had a pickup truck. They had,
Right.
everything they could gas. They could get them out of the lane to keep traffic flowing. It was a great system. Highway helper, kind of alliterative, and it worked just fine.
Right.
We get a new um, DOT commissioner in there, and they got to call it something different. Same shit.
Yep.
They just got to call it something different. And what they called it was, I don't even remember because it was so cumbersome and so stupid, but they had to do it. Like, this is mine now. That's what Donald Trump did with NAFTA. He called
Hmm.
it AMCA or something like that. And now he's saying whoever wrote the AMCA is crazy because it's the worst fucking thing ever, but he wrote it. So
Yeah.
this is what they do. They have to destroy whatever anybody did that was good beforehand and attach their name into it. And because they're so ham-handed and so incompetent, it fucking fails. They take good things that
Yeah.
fucking fail because they fuck it up.
And that's the one thing that gives me, because we know watching that whole fucking act today at the Rose Garden, it's
Yeah.
an utter, absolute failure waiting to happen. I mean, I saw someone in the Guardian trying to defend that. You can't defend that shit. No, I mean, it
No.
not before the thing happened, but they're trying to defend tariff. You can't defend it. You know it. You know, some economists think it's good. There's not one economist worth his salt who says that. If an economist says that, you're wrong. Even Jim Cramer, who was a Trump-a-fuck, who said that voting for Trump was going to hit your paycheck, is now even saying that's a bad thing with tariffs.
Yeah.
Really, dude, honestly. First of all, you had never had any credibility. I've seen your act. It's stupid.
Yeah.
From you're not even an economist. You're just some hack. But economists know the math don't work. It's never going to work, and it's just going to be a total collapse. Because the thing about they asked Trump about the word stagflation. He has no
He doesn't
idea
know
what
what
that
that is.
is.
No.
He is totally. But as you saw him today, that was a man. Honestly, have you ever spoken to people who have dementia or Alzheimer's patients? They live in a
Yeah.
different world. I was watching that man live in this little world of the world out to get to us, and I have a chart of how to get even with him. That chart was just really sad. It really
Yeah.
was sad. I'm sorry, it was sad. And I mean, it's sad. And he went through all the countries. And he had to make a comment about Vietnam and Thailand. And I'm listening to him going, you really, if you ever go back in time to Donald Trump, the best thing you can do for Trump at a young age is to get him out of that family, basically when he's young, and have him adopted by a Midwest family or someone to make sure he knows he's loved.
After you
Because
beat
that's
his
what it is.
ass. After you beat his ass. A guy like that
Ah,
needs his ass beat.
there's a scene. There's a scene from the Avengers Endgame, and all the dorks out there will get it, where they're going back in time, and one of the characters uh, goes, "Well, why don't we go back and find baby Thanos and go, you know?" It goes,
Yeah.
first of all, that's sick, and two, it won't work. And I laugh at it because you can't blame the child for what happened. Well, because all you heard from Trump, what I heard today, was a person desperately wanting to know everyone to love what he does.
Yeah.
He is so desperate. I mean, I mean, we all want what's the word I'm looking for?
Adulation.
Confirmation. Yeah, we want confirmation when adulation. We all want. Trust me. I mean, I'll be honest. If I get 500 views on a video, I'm going, damn, that's good. I mean,
Right.
I don't get paid for it, but it's good. But you see, the point is that people are listening to you. When I watch this thing later on, I'm looking at the comments. Of
Yeah.
course I am, because I'm human. But
Yeah.
also I but also I also understand that I have to kind of understand that I'm not going to always get what I want, and I'm always going to get adulation. My brother years ago, God rest his soul, um, said we were playing a video game and we had a good session. And so, like at the end of this video game, you would get rewards or anything, and there was no rewards. I said, "What happened?" He goes, "You did your job. What do you want?" And I never forgot that because he's right. What do you want? You did your job. You didn't
Yeah.
do anything extraordinary other than follow the mission, complete mission. You're done. Congratulations.
Right.
What else do you want? And that's the thing. We know that if you get something like that, it makes you feel good. It's the gold
It
star
does.
for us younger children, for us older folk.
Well, it
But
does.
for
And
Donald Trump, go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, no, the narcissist. I won't even say thrive on adulation. I mean, that's what they're going for all the time. They want the pat on the butt. They want the pat on the head. Have people tell you you're brilliant, and when they don't, it just devastates them. And that's why when tomorrow we wake up and the stock market goes to shit, um, it's going to be interesting to see how he responds because he's not going to like it. He's not going to like the
No,
people screaming at him.
yeah. He honestly thought that if he did it away from the market, it wasn't going to react. Again, he has no clue
Yeah,
because he lives in that world. That world. And that's the thing we're dealing with, and the rest of the world is dealing with literally a bubble that's running the country, and the rest of us going, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, like the Canadian, he spent 10 minutes bashing Canada. Dude,
yeah,
Canada, Canada. And I
yeah. That
keep
makes no
saying that
sense.
over and over again, Canada. And the Canadians were a disjointed a political mess. There aren't any more. And there's a conservative running who's doing his best not to acknowledge that. You know what they refer to him as? Maple MAGA.
Yeah,
Maple MAGA. But he's trying to get around it, but he can't. He's just stuck on him.
yeah,
In a country that was basically going to shift, it's not going to shift come the end of month
yeah,
because they know if they shift right, Trump they will let Trump into the building. And I
yeah.
don't think there's any Canadian right there that wants that because they know what he is. And I mean, that's the thing. Why do you pick a fight with our allies? Canada,
Do
especially. It makes no sense, but I guess you need an enemy.
you think? Do
I
you
mean,
think
that's
we're looking at a changing tide though? Because in the Senate, they passed a bill to kind of take away these tariffs from Donald Trump and make it a congressional thing, which is what it is supposed to be.
what it
But
should have been. It's money.
there were four Republicans that voted with the Democrats: Murkowski, Collins, Rand Paul, and Mitch McConnell. Now these people are going to have to send that back to the House, and whether it passes the House or not, I'm not altogether sure. But these people have put a mark on them now, and it's going to piss off Donald Trump that they voted against him. So I give them
Well,
credit for standing up and at least having enough bravery to do that.
well, Mitch McConnell's the Walking Dead. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
he's not
Rand
running
Paul is
again. He
the
doesn't care.
yeah. Rand Paul is a libertarian. He's a contrarian, regardless.
Yeah,
Lisa McCarthy is, whatever the wind blows her. And
yeah.
what was the other one? I missed the last one.
Susan Collins from Maine.
Collins is another one like that. I'll go with the wind blows. Um, yeah, I mean, they might. I mean, knowing Mitch, when his time of lucid times, he knows this is bad, and on his heart, he knows he fucked up by letting that man loose. For all his bullshit of being an obstructionist, which he was, I still think he's a patriot, and he knows it's fucked right now. Um,
Well, he's
I don't.
evil, but he's not stupid. He
Yeah,
understands what's going on.
and so and he also knows they're incompetent. So all the things he thought, again, the problem with a lot of those Republicans, McConnell and the upper echelon, They thought they could control Trump,
Yeah.
but the problem is when you domesticate a tiger, eventually it will turn on you,
Yeah.
and it turned
Absolutely.
on him, and he lost control. I will say that the time with the after January 6th, he was rolling the dice on a calculated risk to keep the power, thinking they can control it. What
Right.
he didn't realize what was going to happen, because he thought there would still be people in government to push him. What they didn't realize is that Trump got rid of all those people. The reason he's running rampant because there's no one pushing back like he
Right.
had in the first term. And all of them, all these people around him are sycophants. They are sycophants. They are true believers. They're deep in the fucking Kool-Aid, period.
Yeah.
And the problem with cults, and we're talking about whether this will be the end. The problem with cults, and let's go back to Jim Jones.
Yeah.
Jim Jones, right? I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember the Guyana cult. He would have been fine. Honestly, he could have been fine. The congressman went there because one of his constituents said, "Hey, can you check on my daughter?" Fine. He went down there. He saw them. He was on his way home, but he was so paranoid. He sent four of his people to kill the congressman. He killed the congressman. That was it. That set it off. It was over at that point. Done. And
Yeah.
that's what brought the fall of the cult, because you didn't know better. You couldn't leave it alone. You could have walked away, but your paranoia got to you. The problem I'm worried about the Trump cult is that the paranoia is starting to roll up. And in order to get rid of the cult, we may have to go through an experience like that. And the point being is a lot of people are going to suffer to get rid of this cult, because cults do not end well. They never end well.
No, and in the
Mhm.
case with Jim Jones, they all ended up dead. Let me tell you a quick story about Jim Jones. This is a weird one. It's just weird to me.
Well, it's weird, period. Anything you say will not be weird compared to what Jim Jones.
Well, I graduated from high school in '78, right? That's when Jim
Hmm.
Jones died. That's when this Guyana thing all happened. It's 1979. It's late '79, about a year after this happened. Okay. I moved to Holbrook, Arizona, which is in the middle of Put it this way: you drive to bumfuck Egypt and say, "Where the fuck is Holbrook?" That's what you have to do. Holbrook is between Flagstaff and Albuquerque, right in the middle. Nothing around, nothing but Mormons and Navajos, and they're fine people. But
Oh
I'm a
yeah, you're
white.
near the reservation. That's a lot of
I,
space.
I'm a white Lutheran, so I don't exactly fit in. So I'm there and I'm young and I meet this girl who's a teacher. Okay.
Hmm.
And she seems nice. She goes, "You want to come over for dinner?" I go, "I'm fucking eating beans out of a can. Yeah, I'll come over for dinner.
Yeah, of
I'm
course.
19 years old. I'm drinking beer and beans." So I go over there and we're talking. And this is '79, probably the fall of '79, not even a year
Yeah.
after this whole thing. And we're talking and stuff like that. She goes, "You want to hear something weird?" Uh, I said, "Sure." She said, "Well, I'm from Indiana." I said, "Oh, cool. You know who Jim Jones is?" I go, "I know who Jim Jones is. Yeah, it's a pretty big story." She goes, "I was in his church back in Indiana." You you were in Jim Jones's church? Well, that's before it was a cult. Oh, so he was
Yeah.
normal then? Well, he wasn't really normal. Needless to say, I didn't see that girl again. I didn't think the prospects were
Oh,
real good.
yeah. Honestly, the original, there is a good, honestly, there is a good TV movie they made on the Jones cult and Powers
I
Booth.
saw it. Yeah. Yeah.
If you see the first part, yeah, it was was doing good work. He just got weird.
He got
Um,
weird.
and but see, but that's where we come back to now. Anyone who's met, if you interact with those guys, they
Yeah.
ain't right. And I had I was on a live last night. Not last night. Was it last night? No, it was. Yeah, it was last night. I was on live last night, and they got a guy. They bring in MAGA. They're looking for MAGA.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, that's fine. But they do one. Basically, they throw out the bait, and these dumbasses show up. So they have one lady from New York who was she she got totally butchered. Um, but they got this guy from Texas, a Mexican from Texas, voted for Trump. And I'm going, okay, I need to ask Homeboy some questions. Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't have my camera up. I turned my camera on because I wanted him to see what I look like. So we're on the same page.
Right.
So I asked him because he was doing his basically because he was talking about Elon Musk and their rebuild the financial, and everyone was getting on him. But I said, look, senor, answer me this question. Why, as a Mexican, a first generation Mexican, that your parents came here from Mexico, established here, you're an American citizen, knowing what Trump said about Mexicans and Latinos back in 2015, knowing what he's always said about minorities, why did you vote for him?
Good
Okay.
question.
So I asked the question of that, and the first thing this motherfucker says, well, you must have come here because your parents are illegal. I go, oh, wait a second, dude. Time out. First of all, my father's Puerto Rican, and it doesn't work like that. So I'm asking you a question, and you insult me? Again, I'm asking you the question, why? And he says because he's Mexican and Trump won't go after him. So you're telling me, I'll go, so he's going to go to the rest of us. Yeah, he goes, because I'm Mexican. So I'm going, I'm Puerto Rican. What does that mean? He goes, yeah, well, I'm Mexican. I'm here. You're Puerto Rican. That was his argument because I finally got it. Some people think Trump won't bother him, even though he's the target. And it's like I sat there, I'm going, and I
It's
told the rest
glaringly
of the
stupid.
basically the entire um, audience and the entire crowd, panel are black. And I said the one thing that has been bugging me for fucking months. Do you know how many times I had to defend myself with assholes who said, yeah, well, Latinos voted for Trump. Latinos voted for Trump. Yeah, I know, but I wasn't one of them. And then I hear a Latino voted for Trump, and I get why they're pissed.
Yeah.
I really get it because they really think it's not going to bother them. The Cubans are finding that out, and I'm not
Yeah.
FAFO those guys. I feel bad for you because you're about ready to suffer because you
Yeah.
thought you're home free. I think you got two more weeks to get out for they evict you,
Right.
apparently to his order. But that guy literally thought, as a first generation Mexican, that he would be safe. They're not coming for me.
Yeah.
I'm safe.
Yeah.
And he bounced out of it right after that.
Of
He,
course he did.
I mean,
They'll have to find
you
out.
the depths of MAGA is so bad that even though he knows if ICE stops him and decides they had a bad day or they need a number, motherfucker, you better have some paperwork or you're ending up in an ICE jail.
Yeah. Or
You
in
don't get,
Venezuela or El Salvador or some shit. Yeah.
and
It's
they go,
fucking
oh, he was a
unbelievable.
citizen. Oops.
Oops. Can't get it
Like the
back
guy,
now.
yeah. Can you
Cross that
imagine
one off.
could you imagine telling someone that? You did bring my, oops, administrative error. I'm sorry. No, administrative error is when Amazon gives you the wrong package.
Yeah.
Okay, guys? But see, that's the
Yeah.
cruelty. The bottom line here, and I know it's getting late, we're coming to the end. The bottom line of all this shit that we have to deal with is that they're incompetent, but they're cruelly incompetent.
Yeah. They
Where
have to
they're,
hurt somebody too.
yeah, because like the taking apart of the Department of Education is hurting disabled kids around the country, where open enrollment schools are not taking disabled children. Why? Because they have no funding and they don't want to deal
Right.
with it. So they're
Right.
saying, how are they going to get education? Well, that's not our problem. That's your problem. I
Yeah.
mean, that's basically what it is. Um, RFK has fired 7,000 FDA, CDC, and NIH employees. Some of these teams working on vaccines, working on AIDS research, working on protecting us are gone. Why?
Yeah.
Because you can. And also, you have an anti-vaxxer ahead of NIH who wants to go back to the autism and vaccines thing. And I made a comment, and this guy got to me and said, "Hey, so what? Cancer still exists. Why do we need them?" Really, dude, that's your argument, and that's what we have. And then you have people like a senator was asked, "Hey, I just got fired from the I think he said was one in NHA. I
Yeah.
got fired for reason my performance is this, and now there are people not getting their coverages. We're not going to be able to help them. What do you think about it?" You know what the senator said?
I
Because you
saw it.
probably
Yeah.
deserved it. That's the cruelty. Because these guys are comfortable now.
Well,
They don't think, yeah,
he said that you deserved it, and he said, "Why do I deserve it?" Because you look like a clown. That's a senator, or I think he's a senator, talking
yeah, he's a
to
senator.
his constituent. That's
They
fucking
don't care
beautiful.
because what are you going to
He
do to
ne-
me?
he needs to get fired. We're coming to the end here, and I have one last question that I
Sure.
wanted to see what you think about. We're literally days away from this alleged deadline for TikTok, where TikTok is
Yeah.
going to get shut down. We've been hearing about all these potential buyers, Oracle, Elon. We just heard about Amazon and Bezos wanting to buy it too. I don't even know if they're taking that seriously. It's weird because we don't hear anything about it. There is no outrage. There is no talk in Congress about it. It's literally a couple of days away. What do you think is going to happen when we get to that point?
Um, I don't think it's Elon because he doesn't have the money,
No.
and yeah, he couldn't pull it off. I'm skeptical of Meta because if Mark Zuckerberg swallows TikTok, it, you know that you ever notice you get people have like companies have a big brand and then
Yeah.
they make like a sliver off that brand, but then that sliver disappears because it cuts into the market share of that brand.
Right.
If he absorbs TikTok, Instagram is going to die.
Yeah.
Threads will die, and so
Right.
you're going to cut his market. Does Amazon make sense to me? Yes, and I'll tell you why. I don't think it's because Bezos wants to control everything. I mean, he's a businessman. Yeah, I know we got the Washington Post thing, but I think that came from Trump more than anything else. And the Washington Post was so loose. Why were they publishing stories about what's going on in the security departments and the signal chat? I could see him doing it because he's big on media right now. Amazon Studios and Amazon Prime, and I'm going to get away from the political thing. I'm going to get down to the bottom line. They have a lot of good work there. They have a lot of good shows. People go there for entertainment. A lot of shows, and it builds on his brand, and he's proud of that media. Absorbing TikTok would make sense to him for two reasons. One, TikTok Shop that would become
Yeah.
part of Amazon Shopping, which
Right.
would, if you look about it, if you're a person in there and you got Amazon to ship your stuff, that actually would make sense. Now,
Yeah.
everyone calm down. Don't go politically freaky on me. Understand, I'm talking about economics here, okay? Because money talks. It's just business, nothing personal, okay?
Right.
But I do think if Bezos would take it, he would put it in the hands of someone who just would leave it alone. And I'm saying this from the point that I don't think he wants to go in there and let it be not. He'll continue the algorithm and maybe it'll be a little right leaning to an extent to satisfy Trump. But I don't think he would put in there someone deliberately like what Musk has done at Twitter to turn it into a cesspool of garbage can. He's
Yeah.
run businesses too well for that, in my mind. Even the
Somebody
Washington
s-
Post is starting to figure that out. I'm sorry, guys.
somebody sent me a video. I I can't validate this at all. It makes some sense with TikTok Shop, but somebody was saying I don't believe that they're going to shut down TikTok because it was just announced, and I don't even know if this is true. It was just announced that TikTok Shop signed like a 2-year contract with QVC, again, using the platform to sell their shit. Because, I mean,
Right.
QVC isn't doing much of anything right now except,
Mhm.
they've kind of waned a little
Amazon
bit.
did them in,
Yeah.
to be
Amazon pretty
honest.
much did them in, and maybe this is their way to try to come back if it even really happened.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I think is going to happen, and I'll make a prediction here. I still think there's too much money on the table to let it just die. I think what's going to happen is the day before, Donald Trump is going to come out and go, "We got a lot of good prospects to buy this thing. We're going to get this thing done, but we can't do it in a day and a half. So I'm going to
Mhm.
push it out another 90 days."
Yeah,
I
I could see that.
guarantee you that's what'll happen.
And I mean, if you look at it after the economy, the stock market crashes tomorrow, and all that heat comes on, I could see him doing that to kind of take the
Yeah.
heat off him,
Yeah.
to an extent, because a lot of people do make money at TikTok. But I cannot. I personally can see Amazon absorbing TikTok and just let it be its
Possible.
own thing. And then also, if you look at it from another standpoint with Amazon Prime and shows, that's a great way to promote your stuff.
Yeah.
And then you'd have influence and you can work with it. If you leave the political side alone, if you don't fuck with the political side, let people do their thing within reason. I mean, you do have the algorithm does its thing. If for someone like Bezos, who literally is running a successful business, whether you like it or not, it's the truth. And I know everyone does it. If you're upset at Amazon and you don't have an Amazon box in your house, you're a liar.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say to you there. But the point being is, if anyone's going to buy it, I sure as hell don't want Zuckerberg because I don't trust his ass. He's too wishy-washy political. Um, he let Facebook become what it is.
And that's on
Um,
the way out.
yeah,
He's going to be a
and,
failed social
and
media
if he
guy.
wants if he wants Facebook to survive, you definitely don't want to subsort TikTok. You might as well just close Facebook down. You're done.
Yeah.
But I can see
Yeah.
Bezos doing that and looking at it as this is another part of my media part of Amazon, and that's what I can do. If
Yeah,
you
that
leave the
makes some
political
sense.
part, I can see it. I mean, again, don't hate me, people. It's just business, nothing personal. That's my opinion. So
It's a great promotional tool for all of his
yeah,
other shit. That makes sense. Well, we're going to wrap things up here. Will, thanks for joining us. I know that you're headed out of town tomorrow. You're going to take
yep.
some well-deserved vacation type of thing.
It's this basically where my wife is a huge. The only thing I didn't do in that freaking live, I should have told that guy I married a white woman and watched him flip out. My wife is a huge Little House on the Prairie fan. And so the woman who plays Nellie, Allison um,
Allison Angram. Yeah.
Angram, she's she's fun. And my wife and I have met her. We've met Melissa Gilbert at another kind of like convention. They're really fun people. She's a blast because she tells stories about the stuff they did behind the scenes. And so she has like a one woman show in Atlanta that we're going to. And there's like a
Should
little
be fun.
cocktail thing after. We're gonna have fun. And Atlanta is fun. It really is. There's a lot of good places to eat and they're fun. And it's nice to get away from everything in this because honestly, I'm not going to look at it. I ain't going to talk about it. My wife and I, after we get home and get back to the room, we'll probably do watch HGTV because we like watching that weird
Yeah.
stuff together. But the point being is, it's a good disconnect because I deal with people all the time in my job, and this, as I tell people with my TikTok and with YouTube, this is more therapy for me. If you guys want to hang out and listen to me, I'm happy. But I talk my shit because I'm going to talk my shit anyway, and might as well do it out loud.
Right. Right. Well, it
And it's
is
going to be a
cathartic.
fun, yeah, it's cathartic, and it's going to be a fun weekend. So we're going to enjoy it. The only thing I do know is that Hiltons do have a 4 to 7 cocktail time, but man, I can't do that anymore. I can't
Yeah,
do that
well, you
anymore.
got to
I
partake.
hate
You
that.
maybe go 4 to 5, and then take a nap.
No, I mean, let's put it this way: you get a drink, and that's it. Because after that, game over.
Yeah,
It is what it
you're good.
is, youngsters. You'll
You're
get
getting
there.
older. You
Yeah.
kiddingly said I'm the old man, but you ain't much younger than me. So
No, I'm not. I mean, it's funny because when you get into some of these lives with young people, you say something, they look at you. What are you talking about? Never mind. I'm done. Well, you in there? You
absolutely,
weren't there. You don't understand. And
absolutely.
but yeah, it's going to be fun. And where TikTok ends up as of Sunday or Monday when I'm back, it is what it is. But you know where to find me at TikTok, Binder38 US. YouTube is still here. If TikTok's gone into cryogenic sleep, I'll probably be doing a couple of videos on TikTok. I'm sorry, on YouTube. But I'll keep doing my thing until either I'm not here or they find someone better. Simple as that.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, Will. I appreciate you coming on. And for those of you listening, thanks for taking the time. I hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.